Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today Easy Sewing with Tyke, and if you are joining us for the first time, thank you for stopping by. You are welcome as well. So today we'll be learning how to make this variation of structured sleeve. You can also use this technique, this knowledge, to make other variation as well. So let's get started. Making use of a lace fabric and doll face to line the lace fabric and also to line the actual sleeve. So if you not be using a lace fabric, if you'll be using a plain fabric, just make sure that whatever fabric you are using is exactly the same that you use as the lining as well. I'll make use of boning. This is the type that you can sew on. Then I'll make use of an hard stay. This is actually a collar stay. Just make use of the hardest stay you can find. Don't use a soft stay or paper stay, please. Make use of an hard stay. So the first thing to do is to determine the length of the sleeve that you are working with. So there are some exaggerated sleeve that starts from the center front all the way to the back, like the type you'll be seeing on your screen right now. But the one I'll be making today is the type that starts from the side front to the side back. So the sleeve measurement that I'm working with is 14. I will just add 10 inches to it for the wideness that I need. So you will want to determine how wide or how small you want yours to be. 14 plus 10, that's 24. So you'll be folding your fabric like this into two, this way. Here is the center. I'm making use of a fabric marker since the fabric is white and chalk would not show on it. So I said 14 plus 10, that's 24. 24 divided by 2, since this is on fold, is 12. Then 1 inches allowance, then another 1 inches to attach it to the dress. That is extra 2 inches. So I have 14 here, and the length, the desired length that I'm working with is 12. 12 plus 1 inch sewing allowance to sew it at the side is 13. So I have 13 here. So I have 14 by 13. But notice that in this style, the sleeve, it is smaller towards the edge. So what you want to do is first determine the midpoint. That's 13. Half of 13 is 6.5. So here is the midpoint. There are some variation of this sleeve that the end area here is just narrow. If that were to be the type that you want to make, just determine how wide you want it to be. Probably 2 inches. Probably 2 inches or 1 inch. If it is 1 inches, then you do it this way. You mark out 1 inches to the right and another 1 inches to the left, knowing fully well that when you want to sew it in, you sew it by half an inch, and then you'll be left with the 1 inches, the desired wideness. But I want a situation whereby I'll be able to pleat mine at the edge this way. So I will be needing 5 inches. That is 2.5 to the right and 2.5 to the left. By the time I sew it in, I'll be left with 4 inches. So I'll be able to pleat the 4 inches this way. So once you determine how wide you want the head here to be, this is the part that will be attached to the dress. This is the center. This is the part that will be outside. This is the part that will be attached to the dress. Once you've determined how wide you want this to be, remember mine is 5 inches because I want to pleat it. Then you just connect it this way. Connect it like this to form the desired shape. Do the same for this side. Connect it this way. So remember that I have 2 of these, one for the main fabric and the other will be used as a lining. One for the main fabric, the other will be used as a lining. This is what I have. I'll go ahead and cut this out now and I'll show you. You can fold it this way to see if to ensure that you have the same shape on both sides. Once you have been able to achieve this, now this is the sleeve. It is up. It is as good as been ready. This is how it will be. This part will be attached to the front. So here is what I'm saying. I want to pleat this way and this way. I would like to pleat it like this on the dress that I'm attaching it to. So the next thing to do after this is to cut out the lace. Next thing you want to cut is the hard stay. I've already done that. I've already cut that out, and you would make sure that it is 1 or 1.5 inches lesser than the actual length, so that when you want to attach it to your fabric, it will not be too bulky, it will not be too hard, especially for this type that I will still have to pleat, and you know I have a lace fabric as well. So the Hardstay should be 1 inches or 1.5 inches shorter than the actual length, so that by the time I'm adding this to the fabric, it will not be too bulky, it will be easy to add. The next thing to do after cutting this out is to decide which of these would be the lining and the main fabric. They're actually the same thing. That's why it's advisable to use the same fabric. Don't use a bad lining, please. Use the same fabric. After you've decided which one is to be the lining, just pick one. You would attach the Hardstay. You attach the Hardstay to one of it this way. This is the lining. You can see it is actually shorter. I've gone ahead to attach the Hardstay to this because it is two sleeve. So this is the other part. I've gone ahead to attach this already. You can see how it's standing already. Look at that. After which you attach the lace fabric to the other plain fabric. So if you're not working with a lace fabric, you can just skip this part. You'll be doing this. So once you've gotten to this stage, the next thing to do now is to sew your boning all the way like this, all the way on both sides, to give it structure, even though it is standing already with the use of an Hardstay, but it is not long lasting. That's why it's advisable to use a boning. The boning will give it structure and it will last longer. So what you want to do is to measure 1 inches or 1.25 all the way like this. You go ahead and do that. Then that is where you will be sewing your boning on, this way. Do not sew it to the edge, so that when you want to turn it with the main fabric, it will be easy to turn. You have to leave space so that it will be easy to turn. You sew it this way. So we still have ½ inches left to turn it with the main fabric. You go ahead and sew it like this on the lining. I'll be doing that, then I will show you the next step to take. So I've gone ahead to sew on it the regular boning on the lining. The reason why we are sewing on the lining is so that these sewing lines would not show on the main fabric. So I'm gonna ahead to sew it. If you have more boning, you can go ahead and add more. You can go ahead and add more to the middle, but it's fine this way. Here is what I have. The next thing to do now is to turn it with the main fabric like this, right side facing each other. Right side facing each other this way. Then I will sew it this way. I will just sew it close to the boning. After sewing it, I'll show you what I have before turning it. Here's the outcome. I'm gonna have to attach the main fabric to it. So I'll be turning it now. I'll be turning it this way.
So you can also make use of a plastic boning for this project. You will just make sure that you sew your bone casing on the lining and turn it out. Then after turning it out, you would now you would insert the plastic boning, because the plastic boning is not sewable. So you have to sew the casing first. That's where you would insert it when you are done turning it out.
Another reason why boning was added, because if it was just the Hardstay, while turning it out, it will have collapsed and even lose its structure. So this is it. You will use your hand to straighten it out before going to the ironing table to iron it out. You want to iron it out this way. And here is what I have. Look at that. The sleeve is ready. So while sewing, I actually reduced the length by 1 inch. I discovered that it was too big for what I wanted, so I reduced the length by 1 inch. This side was reduced by 1 inch. I'll iron it out now and show you. Here's what I have after ironing. The next thing to do now is you can overlock this place, or you fold it in, or you finish it off with a bias on both sides. And this is what I have. So you can see it now. Even after the turning, it is still standing because it has a boning inside for structure. It will even have more structure. You can add one more boning to the center. So the next thing to do now is to take my needle and thread and pleat it however I want. This way, you can see what I'm left with. And I'll stitch it before attaching this to the body of the dress. I'll do the same for this side. Stitch it pleat it this way, and I'll be left with this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying till the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. Kindly give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, and put on the notification bell. You can also connect with me on Instagram at tyke_tyke with you. Thank you.